Hey guys, I've got another game on chess.com for us to go ahead and take a look at. So let's see what's happening. You can see I'm about a 1200 elo. This was a 3-minute blitz game. Let's jump into it. So I start off with the move pawn to e4, nice and standard, and my opponent plays the Scandinavian defense. So in this position, I like to take with the pawn and make them bring their queen out, which is exactly what happens. And now I develop this knight here to c3 because now you can see I'm hitting the queen, and so they are forced to move it while I develop a piece. So my opponent gives this check. Generally in the Scandinavian, you want to put your queen either on a5 over here, on back to its home square at d8, or sorry, not there, or to d6 right here. So these are some of the moves you want to play, either a5, d8, or d6. So this check right here doesn't do too much, and it's actually really bad because it blocks your e-pawn in, and now this bishop is going to have a much harder time developing, and that check I can just block with my bishop. So I do that, and I'm in a completely fine position. You can see it's the fourth move of the game, and I'm already at plus 0.9, almost a full point of advantage, because I've got some pieces developed and my opponent is blocked in the development of some of their pieces. So here my opponent develops this knight, which is a bit of a mistake. What I should have done was just push the pawn, and if they played a passive move, like let's say knight to d5, then this would lead to a fork right here, because once they take back with the knight, I'll just take back with my knight, and they can't recapture with the queen, because then I would be able to pick it up. So I should have been more aggressive in the opening, but I just wanted to develop my pieces, so that's an inaccuracy by me. So my opponent then develops their queen over here, because what they're looking to do is threaten g2 right here and try to take this pawn, but I go ahead and castle. The computer wants me to just jump my knight in here and let them do that, because if they do that, then I can hit the queen here. Queen can't take because my knight defends this square. So it wants it to put their queen up there on h3, and then I would be able to put my knight here and take the rook and be up a rook. So I missed that idea as well, and I just castled in this position. So my opponent then goes bishop to h3, threatening to checkmate the king. They've got their queen here pinning the pawn, but I go ahead and play the move knight to h4, because now I'm threatening to, or now that's no longer possible, because if they take, then I can just take back with my knight. But what I should have done, I had the right idea, but the wrong square. I should have just played the move knight to e1, because it does it's the same idea. If they take with the queen, I'll just take back with the knight. So right idea, but I put it on the wrong square. So afterwards, my opponent plays the move queen to queen to g5, because now they're attacking this knight. So I play the move pawn to g3, defending the knight and giving up my rook here. So my opponent did end up winning the rook. I go ahead and take back with the queen, and now they castle. So I play the move pawn to d4, opening up my dark squared bishop, hitting the queen, forcing it to move. And the queen goes back to f6. You can see that even though I'm down a rook for a bishop, I am still currently plus 0.5 better. But then I play the move bishop to f3, and it calls this a blunder, because I have just blundered this pawn right here. Sorry, they should capture with the knight, excuse me. I did just blunder this pawn right here, and now I am in a losing position. So this is an unfortunate turn of events for me. I had defended okay to this point, but now my opponent is winning the game. So I drop the bishop back, and now my king is perfectly safe. There's no attack left anymore. And they play the move pawn to g5, striking my knight. But instead of moving my knight, I thought to myself that I can go ahead and play the move knight to e4, because they can't take my knight now, because I've got a counterattack on this queen. And my knight is defended by the bishop right here, so it's fine to do this. So then my opponent plays the move queen to e5, getting out of the way, and now I get to win this pawn anyways. And my opponent still can't take this knight because my bishop is defending the knight as well. So I found a nice idea there to take that pawn, and now this knight is still perfectly fine. And now they play the move bishop to h6, trying to attack this knight, but you can see that this is a mistake by them, and I find the move knight to f7. So here my knight is forking both rooks, the queen, and the bishop. So my knight is doing a lot of work on this f7 square right here, attacking this rook, the queen, and the bishop. So I've managed to, you can see here, my opponent was about 2 points better, about 1.8 better in 1, 2, 3 moves. I managed to turn it into a winning position for me, because once my opponent moves their queen, I recapture that rook that I lost a while ago. And yes, they get to take my rook, but now the material's even after they take the knight. It's queens. We both have queens. We both have a knight. I have an extra bishop on the light squares for their extra knight, and then rooks here. So I managed to get back in the game, and you can see now it's plus 5.2 for me. So now I go ahead and pin the knight to the king. Yes, this was a free pawn right here, but this knight is now pinned, and on the next move, my opponent tries to defend with the move pawn to e5, but they should have just moved the king out of the way, because if I attack the knight, they can simply move it and it's fine. But by defending it this way, now I can just push the pawn and it's still pinned, so it can't move at all. And now on the second move, they move the king. I can take the knight, and now I'm up a piece, even though they got to take that pawn back. So in this instance, it was better to break the pin first by my opponent, because once I push the pawn, they're able to move the knight. But by trying to defend it first, I was able to push a pawn and win a piece. And just a quick note, I cannot take this back with the rook because the queen is defending that rook, and then, or that pawn, and I would be losing. So in this position, after they took the pawn, I play the move queen to b6, because I'm threatening, sorry, queen to b5, excuse me, because I'm threatening the b7 pawn. And if they played something like knight here, I could take with check. And you might say, well, what if they just take the queen? They can't, because it's defended by this bishop hiding on g2 in front of my king. So my opponent plays the move pawn to c6, a good move by them, because now it's no longer possible for me to take, because my bishop doesn't have the eyes to guard my queen. So I play the move queen to c5, just stepping out of the way, and now I'm targeting this pawn on a7, and my opponent develops their knight, and I take the pawn on a7. And once my opponent moves the king, they're thinking of bringing their rook into the game. I play the move rook to c5. Now this pawn is pinned, and once they push this knight here, this is an inaccuracy, but I miss it because I got a little bit of tunnel vision here. I was thinking if I can pin this pawn, I can win the knight, not realizing that I have already pinned the pawn, and this is a free knight. This pawn cannot take back because it's pinned by this rook. So unfortunately for me, I missed that, and this is an inaccuracy by me. That knight was already a free knight, and I was just being a little silly there. So I played the move queen to c5. That's why this move is an inaccuracy, because it was already a free knight. But my opponent then moves their king, and now I go ahead and take the knight. But they can take back with the pawn, which is what they did. And now I can check, and the engine says I have checkmate in 11 moves after this inaccuracy. And now, once my opponent moves their king out of the way with king to e7, you can see the evaluation goes to mate in 5. I take this pawn here first, and by moving to the back rank right here, it's checkmate in 2 moves. I can slide my rook all the way up to the top. My opponent resigns the game here, but the continuation would have been queen to d8, rook takes queen, checkmate. So in this game, you can see it started out with me getting a bit of an advantage early on, but I defended in a way that wasn't great for me. But then I had this counter attack that allowed me to get back into the game, and then I was able to finish it off at the end. So hopefully you like this video. Hopefully my commentary is helping both, or is helping you and myself continue to get better at chess. If you like the video, maybe check out some other videos. I do more commentary on games that I play on chess.com, mostly 3-minute blitz games right now. And of course, if you like the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Hope you have a great day.